You've probably heard that RFK Jr. has quite literally turned the food pyramid on its head. You might think that's just academic, but here's why it matters. For months, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been talking about his plan for the new Dietary Guidelines for Americans. He made it very clear that the new guidelines would look very different from previous versions, and they do. While earlier versions of the guidelines advised Americans to eat lean meats and drink low-fat or non-fat milk, the new one loses all references to lean meats and promotes full-fat milk instead. It also ditches recommended limits on alcohol consumption, lowers the recommended amount of vegetables, and jacks up the recommended amount of protein, even though research shows that Americans are overeating protein. The updated guidelines took the food pyramid and literally turned it on its head. At the very top left of the pyramid is a slab of beef, reflecting Kennedy's well-known personal affinity for red meat. Several former members of the government's advisory committee have already criticized the new guidelines. Marion Nestle, who served on the panel in the 1990s, called out how contradictory they are. They advise Americans to limit their saturated fat intake while also telling us to eat more foods that are high in saturated fat, like whole milk. Christopher Gardner, who served on the most recent iteration of the committee, also criticized the new guidelines, saying they go against decades and decades of evidence and research. But members of the meat and dairy industry praised the new guidelines. The Meat Institute and the National Chicken Council both said they were pleased with the new recommendations, and the International Dairy Foods Association called them an important victory. And the dietary guidelines aren't just theoretical. They affect SNAP benefits, school lunches, military meals, and other government food programs. In total, they guide over $40 billion worth of government food purchases every year. Thanks to the new guidelines, those purchases could include a lot more red meat and dairy than they have in the past.